Look at you with the real shirt on.
I'm gonna put on a tie for a second.
Shirt on.
Huh?
I said, look at you with a real shirt on.
I know. I almost put on a tie.
Let's not get crazy now.
I know, right? Like too much. It was funny. I put on.
Check, baby, check, 1, 2. Give us an audio check, ladies and gentlemen. Check. Good morning, everybody. Pedro and I will be with you in just a moment. All right, I'm going to bring the cameras up. Not yet. It looks like you're taking a shit. You're just like this. No, I just wanted the first thumbnail not to be you, like. All right, cameras coming up. Good morning, everybody. Can't hear too much of that. Never professional here, never. We try. I don't know when I'm about to start talking here. Once again, my mic is on. All right, mic's coming up here. Welcome, everybody. Here. Welcome to DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show today here on DYOR Media. It is September. Nope. Pedro, do you know that it's November already? November 7th, 2025. I know. The first week is over of November. And we got some good direction on the market, so we'll be talking about that today in the Bitcoin segment. And more importantly, today we got some guests. We had some elections here on Tuesday. They have ramifications for the Trump administration in the midterm elections. And so we're going to have the crypto swamp creatures on the show today. In the second half hour of the show, we're going to have Justin Wallin, pollster extraordinaire, the man who called the United States presidential election here on the DYOR Media Network before all the other networks. He will be joining us. And then in the third half hour, after 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Mr. Chris Alexander, Crypto Swamp Creature co-host, will be joining us as well for a longer discussion on pretty much everything from elections, politics, crypto, and what's going on in the world. Chris is always a great source of information. Anyway, let's get to Bitcoin. Pedro, what's going on with the Bitcoiners?
Dude, they are Bitcoiner. It was really interesting. last night. I was hoping for us to go hard down last night so that we could see a good rebound into the evening or into the afternoon and morning and afternoon session here in the United States. And so me seeing this kind of happen, I mean, how I thought it was going to happen, where we saw this sell-off come in under Thursday, where we saw it sell off. And then, but the worst part is, and this is where I'm just not liking it, right, is that it's not giving me big enough demand candles, big enough demand wicks, but it's still good enough to where as we're coming down, you can see we are really starting to put them in. You can see them put in right here. As we're going up, we're putting them in as well. So that looks good. That's a big old heart. You see that right there? See what I drew right there? I call it the heart. And look at that, boom. And then look at all those hearts right there. Boom. Look at all those demand wicks. So that's a great thing. It looks, please don't get it confused with something like this. All right. The only bad thing behind it is look at the increase in volume as we came down. Look at the decrease in volume as buyers were stepping in. So that's the only thing I don't like. But it's looking fairly good. And I do think that we'll probably see it come down a little bit further. Again, on the Bitcoin.com podcast, I think it's called Token Narratives. And I forget, it was my bad. I was going to send it to my friend Striking here, but I completely just slipped on it. So that was my bad. I did repost it on my page. So if you guys want to go look at it, see what I talk. If you guys basically, if you watch the show here, I just kind of regurgitated in a much more, at least hopefully professional way, because it is Bitcoin.com.
Hopefully.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Well, you'll know if they ask you back, then you'll know you did okay.
Yeah, they probably ain't gonna ask me back. They'll be like, I did make a comment about Charlie Kirk, a porn one for the homie, and one of the guys kind of looked at me and was like, "What are you doing, dude?" So, yeah, I probably ain't gonna go off well. I probably won't be asked back. But it was fun while I was there. But it was great guys, really great guys. They did a great job. Just the way they host you and how they, communicate. They're fun. They're smart guys. So I really. All
right, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, but ultimately, I'm expecting a nice little pullback here, though. Because they're taking profit. What is today? Today is Friday, and so we saw the huge Friday. Just like I talked about on Monday, I said I don't trust this big push up. I'm expecting a bit of a sell-off, and that's what we saw here. We saw it come down, boom, break down into our lower levels. I was talking more of the 103, but it coming down and touching that 101, the 400 period was a nice little play there. What's also a great play as well as is we want to see this thing push up a little as high as here. I'll be really happy if we can see BTC sitting.
Could you drag that over just a bit?
Yeah.
Not the whole window, just the, yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I'm gonna make this up here real quick. The price that we're watching that we want to see BTC close at is around that 103 area, 103, 105. Excuse me, 103, 500 is what I'm looking at. And so that kind of shows me that it's still strong and that they're still building. If we kind of close anywhere near the bottom over here, it's a bearish sign basically saying that they're prepping for the fall for a drop for next week. So I'm just kind of monitoring that. Again, this is the end of the week, so expect profit taking, right? Don't try to go long on Friday if the market's been short all week, because you're just basically, I talk about, the currents coming in and the current leaving, right? Or a tide coming in and tide leaving.
Yeah.
Right. And when tide's been out for too long, it's sooner or later going to come back in. So that's them taking profit on Fridays as they were selling off. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. But again, I'm looking at that 103.5 to that 103.230 to close up in that area for the day.
All right, Senor Pedro. We'll move over to the audience and talk more about Bitcoin later in the show. Talk about how the month of November is going to shape up. We started out with a big down week. That's actually a good thing, right? In the description of the show today, put elections have. I didn't put the other part of the bit. I was supposed to say elections have consequences and November sucks with a big thumbs up. And as Pedro says, when we go down at the beginning of the month, we go up at the end of the month. So we're going to be talking about that later. Right now, a little audience interaction. Crypto Mike in the house, all the way up from the great province of Manitoba. Good things happening up there. Resisting the Manitoba premiers, resisting the urge to just do everything the Liberal Party wants. Wab Kanu's a good guy. I've actually met him, Mike. I've met Wab. Good guy. And glad you're watching us all the way from up there. And then, of course, Connect Me is watching. I have a feeling Crypto Unicorns is here somewhere. Yeah. Oh, look, there they are. Crypto Unicorns in the house. Thanks for watching Crypto Unicorns. As always, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro and I count on audience interaction for our numbers here, and to spread the word about our show here. And so, if you could do us, oops, that was the wrong button. Come on, you can do it. That's the right button. Ladies and gentlemen, please share this. Like, repost, do all those kind of things. It really helps and it counts. Fire chicken in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Fire a chicken. Thanks for joining us, Chuck, all the way from the great state of Oklahoma, a normal state where no Democrat can get elected to any office anywhere. Oklahoma. And of course, welcome to everyone on LinkedIn watching. I can look over on my machine over here and see there's a couple of people tuning in over there. Really appreciate it. Drop a comment. The great comment machine doesn't work so good on doesn't work so well on LinkedIn. There's DeFi Dude. Thanks for watching us on this Friday evening in Spain. Really appreciate it. Oklahoma. First in Republicans, last in education. Woo! Got that going for you there. Pedro, you're on mute.
That makes sense why I was like, why do you let me talk? All right. Okay, fine, go ahead.
I saw you talk. I'm like, I'll just keep talking until he figures it out. But anyway,
I'm
welcome
pretty dense, bro.
Everybody to this show. Let's see, I gotta get this back on track here. All right, took some minutes off that. All right, Pedro, lots going on in the markets this week. As I said before when you're talking about Bitcoin, one of the things that we look for is some obvious direction at some point. And this is the concept I'm banging into my head to learn. And I went so long without looking. I just watched the chart go up and down. Hey, this is great. Chart's going up and down. October did this. It started out with a big move in the first week. And you're like, yes. And I'm like, why is he like, yes? And I'm like, oh, if it goes up, October went up at the beginning of the month. That means at the end of the month, we're likely to see the opposite. November, it didn't just come in like a whimper. November came in with we're going down, bitches. And they did. It did. They were finishing up this week down from the monthly open and the weekly open. So that leads me to believe the end of the month. November is a very normal 4 trading week month. Very normal. So then the fourth week of this after, we have Thanksgiving the end of this week, end of the month, don't we? Arrgh, my plan is foiled, Pedro.
No, but here's the thing. This is where I think it's important to understand, right? So we go down at November, the first part. Yeah. Then we in second, and then the second week we'll probably go down a little bit and then go back up. We'll hit it hard. We'll probably see some profit taking in the middle of the month. Right. And then again, see it go back up. And so it's going to look like this, right? Boom. I'll just put it out on the screen. Yeah. So it's a better way just to do it that way. Like right here. So this is where we're at. And then, next week we'll probably see it come back down, come down into these lower levels, then come back up where we see it then go up. And then after that, actually, so kind of something that just looks like this. Boom, come down, and then go back up, right? Something probably like this. Potentially coming back down into this area or this area, okay? Then the next week, we see it basically go down again a little, and then see it go back up again. And then I think we'll see a similar situation. We'll see it go down again and then go back up. I'm still believe that we're going to have a great month and a great December. Towards the end, we'll see him obviously sell off for tax reasons and see profit taken for the end of the year. But I do think that over the next 6 weeks, we're going to see some major pushing in the crypto markets. Now, I might have to retract and say that we may not hit that 250, 300,000, right? But we may hit 150, we may hit 150, 200,000 by the end of the year. I do expect big months coming out in November and December. So, but again, it's all predicated on go ahead.
December is the last period in the year. I didn't ask. My mind has not gone this far forward yet in long-term trading. So if December is the last period of the year, what happened in the first period of the year? What happened if you're looking at the yearly candle?
We went down. Yeah, we went down. Remember we talked about that? Yeah.
This is key information, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you're going to get fat stacks of cash, by watching these charts.
Fatty stacks.
Not the minute chart like I love to do.
See, we came down first at the beginning of the year.
Well, I can't make heads or tails of that chart.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the year chart.
Oh, if you put the monthly chart up, I can see the candle for the year has been made. I get it. Oh, not the daily. Oh, God.
Sorry, let me go monthly. My bad.
All right.
So this is December.
Yeah.
Here's January. We went up to go down.
Yeah.
We went down and then we went up again. We came down in November, and I believe it should go up. I think this month will end up at least 107 or all-time highs area, which is going to be that 126 area. And then from there, we'll see it again in the month come down, then go back up. That's what I'm expecting, because you saw it. Now, it's important to understand that when I say it goes up, like this part, this is January, they've got to go in to get seller. So they typically will push it up, So like if you ever look at a 5-minute candle, you'll see them push up a little bit with the wick on a 5-minute candle, right? And then they'll drop it down for maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and then they'll push it back up. And so that's what we call this right here. Like that's the first part, pushing up to go down, to continue up for the rest of the year, and then basically sell off. But I think because of the nature of this cycle, meaning the Bitcoin halving year, I think we're going to have a big run up. That's what I think we're going to have. If not, it may just simply look like the S&P 500, where it just always goes up. Like, yeah, I mean, like if we still haven't hit full parabolic. I mean, it kind of has. You can see here, this is what it looks like. See, boop, boom, boop, boom, boop, boom. I think we'll have a big push up. Yeah, we'll see what's up though. But I do gotta. What's up?
No, I was just typing something. Justin just let me know he's running late on a client call, so I'm going to be rejigger the schedule a little bit here. But that's what we can do because we have a flexible show here. Anyway, so I get your concept that we're going to finish the year hard. But in order to do that, we've got to hit a low somewhere here before that and clear out some liquidity. And you've given my brain a little bit too much information for it all to process here in this short period of time. Summarize it. Where do we need to get down to? Where's the liquidity pull going to come down to before it starts to rise up, irrespective of time frames?
Yeah, I think around that 95 to 83 area is one of those areas that we could see it come back down to. And so the reason why I say 95 is that it's kind of the area that we're sitting in, and this is around the previous highs here. So that's why I say here. And so there's liquidity there. And the next liquidity area is around that 83, 85 to 83-ish area. And then if it decides it wants to go for the full leg down and we see it go higher, it potentially could get down to that 73 area, 75, 73. And that was the April lows that we saw come in. So those are the three areas that I'm really gunning for. If we're going to sell off, anywhere in between those, it's basic kind of no man lands, and it should float to where the liquidity levels are sitting at.
So possibly, what you're saying possibly here before the end of the year, we're going to see some pretty good volatility to the downside and then back up to the upside. So as our brains start tuning out the year, especially entrepreneurs and people that work on their own here, we're divided into two classes of people. The people that just doesn't matter what, they are type A people and they work like slaves every day, all day. And then there's the rest of us, like me, that I start tuning out as Christmas starts coming because I get into the Christmas mood and that type of stuff. And I've always had jobs in which just nothing happened in December. There's like, screw it. And so I stop watching the markets and I start tuning out with whatever's going on in work. But this year, it looks like I need to pay attention to it because there's a possibility we could see kind of record volatility, which for you traders out there is good. Good. It's a good thing. Opportunities to make some money. That's what it seems like you're saying to me here.
Very much, yeah.
All right. Justin's running a little bit. He's trying to
wrap up.
Wrap up a client call. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you joining us a little bit late, today we're having the crypto swamp creatures join us. You know what, I'll just, since it's, according to this, it's a commercial time here, we'll skip the commercial, but we will quickly do a Rumble ad, and then I'll re-rack the show at the bottom of the half hour here. So let's head back to the main studio here. Who's gonna
studio?
Who is this? No offer from them. We'll just go with the good old fashioned. Well, it's good to see that this isn't. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time to earn a little money here and make sure your eyeballs get to our advertisers. Are you looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st. It's normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices. And you get access to exclusive premium content, no interruptions. Nope. Just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. Ladies and gentlemen, over on that side of the screen, there's a QR code there. You're watching on your big screen TV. Hold up your cell phone, pop that QR code, put your eyeballs on our advertisers. That's all Pedro and I can do is ask that you do that for us. We really appreciate it if you do. Piece of garbage just fell off our roof. Nice. But anyway, things I get distracted by. Anyway, if you're watching on your cell phone, in the chat section, there's a Learn More link there. And if you're watching on the replay, first of all, thank you very much. And second, in the description down below, there'll be a link to a Rumble Premium and Perplexity Pro special offer for $19.99. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Rumble and Perplexity for being sponsors of this show. All right.
Big old huge tech companies just wants to support us. Wow, I'd love it.
I know. We got all the big guys supporting us. Crypto.com, Dr. Michael Gundry.
Yeah,
Chuck
man.
Norris video, Brooke Burke.
Brooke Burke, man, there you go. like I said.
All right, Pedro, I need to do about 2 minutes here of just scheduling here with Justin in the show clock, because he's reading the show clock too.
All right, let me go over some news here and
okay,
kind of, and we can go from there. I get you. I'm hearing what you're cooking, understanding what you're putting down as I'm about to sneeze. All righty, look at that.
Yes.
Perfect time, right? Awesome. So, I think there was some really interesting news over the weekend, or excuse me, overnight. One being that, and did it go? There we go. Kazakhstan to launch $1 billion crypto reserve fund using seized assets by 2026. So, seized assets. Are they going to steal from their own people? Is that what is going to happen here? We'll see. White House advisors, White House advisor Hassett says the economy will recover once the government reopens. I don't think so. I think that's actually going to cause things to even get worse, because they've been able to ignore a couple numbers. And those numbers, we know we're not looking good. Just from a job standpoint, everything that's correlated there. And I think their close down potentially might be holding off this huge sell-off. Just putting that. This is Pedro's thought processes on the news and what's actually the conspiracy theory behind it. President Trump says Nancy Pelosi illegally made a fortune in the stock market and ripped off the American public. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, it was funny. In my trading group, I literally, when she retired, I literally said, I hope they put a plaque on the New York Stock Exchange, because she was a great one. You know, she raffled Warren Buffett, and all the liberals were like, "F you, you're dumb," and then all the Republicans were like, "Dude, that was epic." And I'm like, I'm more libertarian. I just don't like either of you guys. And so it's always funny because none of them like me, and so but I post these things and it's fun.
Well, Trump also said it's good. It's time for her to go. And you got to agree with Mr. Trump on that. I mean, you can't be 85 years old. I mean, it's not like she's a senator that's been coasting for 6 years. She just ran for re-election in November, and won. I mean, she's been past her prime for 20 years. And I realize Democrats they need to keep senior people in there, so they have seniority on things. I get it, and it's good for the state of California to have a senior member. But when seniority turns into senility, I mean, remember Dianne Feinstein? Remember her aides had to whisper in her ears like, "You have to vote yes." Like, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's not democracy." Whoa. I mean, you can have a meeting and say we should vote yes on this, but when the roll call happens, you can't have your aide. I was like, oh, nope. That's like that Leo DiCaprio thing. Nope. Anyway, so it was time for her to go, but she still has a whole year left. She has a year to keep screwing things up and make a lot more money. And I don't think she made any money illegally. The rules are, the Congress passed, unethically, according to Congress, no. She followed the ethics rules. Illegally, nope. The law says what it does. Should they be able to do that? Of course not.
Right. Absolutely. And it's actually the fact that the people of the United States.
It drives me nuts. They should, as soon as it's public info, she might know the Lockheed Martin's going to get an order for $50 trillion of planes, and she'll buy the stock, and she'll buy a ton of options.
So to clarify, it wasn't her who was trading; it was her husband who was trading, who was making her money.
Oh, sure.
So it's to make sure we understand. She didn't actually place the trades. The problem is that all of Congress can do that. All of the Senate can do that. And it's wrong because they literally have insider information. We saw during COVID, we literally saw senators and House representatives literally go out, call their brokerage and tell them to sell XYZ or buy XYZ. This was a travesty in the market because the fact is that the very people who we elect to hopefully be the best of us are doing the worst of us. And it's on both aisles, left and right, far left as well as mid-left, mid-right to far right. They all act in this manner because people are greedy and they want to serve themselves. But on the back end, I do have to say that it is us, the American people, that have not fought hard enough to sit there and say, you can only have 2 terms or 3 terms. I would say if you're running for Congress or the House of Representatives, you can have 3 terms, right? Boom. I'm okay with that. And then if you guys want to run, also, there needs to be more open insight, definitely on the deep state. Like, we need to understand who the presidents are afraid of. There needs to be openness there. And so this is, I think there's major issues that are going on that it's us, the people. If we were to rally and say, we're done with this, stop it, it would be done. But we would have to come together and really put away the things that irritate one another and sit there and say, you can't trade the stock market. Now, let's pay you, instead of $250,000 or $300,000, we'll pay you $1 million a year to run. That's cool. We'll do that. You know what I'm saying? You'll walk away 4 years with well supplied, and also more important, right? You can actually focus on the people and your constituents. And then once your time is up, your time is up. So I think that should be something, because it's us. We're the ones at fault. It's the people that are at fault. It's not really even the Congress, because Congress they're people. They're going to be greedy. Adam Smith, everybody enacts for their own self-interest.
All right, just a second here, Pedro. Our guest of this half hour of Block B of our show is here, and we're going to attempt to do this without a tech test or anything. Just bring him on here, unmute his mic, and bring up the three of us here on one page. Justin, are you there? No, he's not muted. I think yourself. I think you got to unmute yourself on the bottom of your page. There we go.
Gotcha. Good to
Justin Wallin, crypto swamp creature, pollster extraordinaire, pollster extraordinaire, and caller of the 2024 election, saying the reasons why Mr. Trump was going to win and become President Trump once again, and doing it right here on your own show, Crypto Swamp Creatures on the DYOR Media. Welcome to our show, Justin.
Fantastic to be here. Great to see you guys.
Good to see you, brother.
Justin, we've had some elections. We've had some elections in the States, and it's not the big midterm elections, but it's still regional. It's a lot of governors, this kind of stuff, mayors, municipal elections, this type of thing. Right off the beginning of it, who was the victor in this? Which party came out on top, or was it gray?
There's nothing gray about it. Democratic Party won by a wide margin, by deltas that are beyond really, not landslide, by the way. Landslide's a very specific thing. And sometimes when people win by 10 points, people say, well, it's a landslide. It's not. A landslide is like 30 or 40 points. It's this huge thing. But boy, if you win by 10 points or more, that is a mandate, and that's different. That is a significant win. There's nothing close about it. And with few exceptions, a lot of this wasn't foreseen. So a lot of these races were seen to be pretty tight, and they just weren't. Hands down, it was really a slap in the face to Republicans. And when we analyze a lot of the underlying kind of movements, which we can talk about a little bit later, we can see the why. A lot of people who behaved a certain way just last November behaved in an entirely different way this time around.
Right. All right. So we saw the lead up to the elections in social media. We saw it in the news. It's big implications for the Trump administration. But the elephant in the room was the government shutdown. How did the government shutdown really affect it? Did the message really play out for the Democrats to say, look, the Republicans suck. They shut your government down. You're not getting paid. Vote for us. Did that have as much influence on it as what I believe?
Yeah, it didn't. As a matter of fact, that message, while decent atmospheric, it's a good supporting message. Turns out that the American people do view an imbalance. They view Republicans, whether it's the administration or those in Congress, being more responsible than Democratic leaders. However, it's not by a massive delta, where we've seen that in the past. Republicans owned shutdowns in the past. That's not the case right now. So the problem is something very, very different from the shutdown outside of Northern Virginia, which is obviously highly affected by anything that's federal.
I was just but, all right, so a lot of the messages didn't resonate well. We saw the close race in New Jersey, never mind the communist city of New York, and really people did a lot of voting in my mind that seemed to be, I don't like that person, but just not that person. Like kind of like the Trump derangement syndrome. I'll vote for anyone except that guy. And in New Jersey, the race was really close. I mean, I realize New Jersey's a heavily blue state anyway, and Citrell, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, gave it a good run, but in the end, New Jersey's ending up with another weak governor. And then in Virginia, didn't they vote to change Democrat and go Republican just the last election, and now they said switched back? What's going on here with these races?
Yeah, well, there's more than meets the eye, right? So you are absolutely right that New Jersey is blue. However, it is blue in the context of the presidential election. So Jersey always votes blue for president. It doesn't always vote blue for governor, right? We've had a number of Republican governors, right? Chris Christie coming to attention. And that happens. There's an ebb and a flow in New Jersey, very similar to an ebb and a flow as what happens in Virginia. It was projected to be very close. Pollsters really got a black eye in a number of these races, in New Jersey especially, where the race was perceived as being within the margin of error, simply too close to call. And that race was won by just about 13 points. That's a big gap, and that should have been seen. It's a fun thing to talk about. If you want to we get wonky, we can talk about that. But the core issue here, and you're right, by the way, getting back to your other point, there was a lot of I'm better than that knucklehead. And in the city of New York, clearly voters weren't terribly enamored with any of the candidates. I mean, Mamdani won by just a shade over 50%, which is, that's not what's called a mandate. That's a very tight race, but he won, right? He won. And the reason why he won is because people were willing to accept him. This is a very similar reason why Trump won, by the way. People were willing to vote for him, regardless of what we viewed as eccentricities or things that I don't like. But they voted for him because New York City is just too expensive to live in. I mean, it is just ridiculously expensive unless you are wealthy. And I'm not judging that. That's just the way it is. But that's really hard.
The New York version of wealthy is wealthy.
Probably
not Oklahoma wealthy.
No, we're talking, $250,000, $300,000, and you're kind of middle class, right?
Yeah, Pedro. It's hard
Absolutely.
to live well in New York on $500,000 a year. $500,000.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And in addition to that, you still got just the malarkey of the city that you're dealing with. So it's not one of those things that you're just, you're going out $500,000 in Florida, and you're going out to the beach, and you may have like a small yacht. You got a nice mansion, right? No, 500,000 gets you a decent apartment, about maybe 1,200 square feet, maybe, in addition to that, you're able to not to have to worry about, your past. You're not stressing. Whereas most people you're making $100,000, $120,000, $30,000. You're struggling. Just to even go out once a week, you're struggling because you got to cover a lot of stuff. So it's real interesting to see what we see. I have a question for you in regards to even though he did win, if Como was not in the run, we've heard this, right? That the only reason why the other party did not win was literally because Como ran. Do you think that actually has some validity to it? Or do you think that Mamdani would have, Why am I forgetting his name?
Zohran.
Mamdani.
Yeah, Mamdani, right. Do you think that he would have had an inkling of really to win if Como wasn't there?
It's unfortunately, and I don't mean to cop out on this by saying it's hard to tell, but it is, because the reality is that New York City voters just weren't happy with their choice. So, absent Cuomo, all right, Cuomo's substituted, who's a deeply flawed candidate, right? Ask anyone whose grandma died in the pandemic, and they're not going to be terribly happy with Cuomo. So he's deeply flawed. Which is evidenced by the fact that here's the senior statesman, if you will, in New York politics, who lost to a 30-something-year-old communist anti-Israel upstart in New York City.
Yeah,
Well,
understand how much. Yeah, explain that the fact that maybe a quarter, maybe 30% of New York is Jewish. You have large areas of it that's just pure Jewish area. So that should, hint towards.
You're exactly right. So that should have meant something. And the reason it didn't is because Mamdani did something very, very smart. Take all the other trappings away. He focused on costs of living. And his message was clear, it was succinct, and it was the costs of living are too high and we need to fix it. Now, people will look at that and say, well, maybe I don't entirely agree with all the solutions, right? Just like people who voted for Trump, which was also a close election, by the way, right? You walk out into any street and throw a brick, you got 50% chance of hitting someone who voted for Trump and 50% of somebody who voted for Kamala Harris. Yep. So this is not a landslide, similar to New York City, but people believed that Trump was better suited or spoke more genuinely or credibly about that issue of cost of living, which is huge. And it's becoming more and more, I'm not going to say existential because that casts it into this life or death, but it's definitely becoming more, let's put it this way, there is no elasticity. You'd spoken earlier about Oklahoma or Nebraska, or our middle states in the US. Yes, New York City is expensive, but the cost of living crisis is throughout the United States. I mean, my job is listening to people, and I listen to people who are, you do focus groups in one of these states, and you've got a married couple who are in their mid 40s, and they have good jobs, and they've only got a couple of kids, so their financial strain shouldn't be too much. The kids are in public school, and they're saying, we are seriously evaluating whether we have to sell our home in order to cover our monthly costs, right? In Oklahoma or Nebraska. And that is not a conversation that should go on in America, in the United States. That just shouldn't go on. And it is just all these other things about, entry point, housing affordability for those who are buying first time. That's usually what's talked to, but it has expanded much beyond this. So the American people were told that the costs of living would go down after the president took office, and costs of living haven't, right? They just haven't. And in fact, they've gone up a little bit. Whether they'll go up a lot or not, that's a question. I'm personally amazed that the tariffs haven't hit the pocketbook more than they have, but they haven't. And we'll see what happens. If Republicans don't seize upon that as the takeaway, that costs of living is everything. Everything else pales in comparison. Look at the Latino vote in these places in New Jersey. Yeah. It went exactly the opposite. All the people who were willing to vote for Trump and said, I voted for Trump last time, voted for the Democrat this time. And the ICE issues are big and they're visible, and there's a lot of discomfort around that. But the vote was cast on the stuff in my home isn't cheaper. And that has a profound effect on me and my family. This is what makes people vote.
I think one of the things.
Well, go ahead, Pedro.
I think one of the things I want to hit on is, like, if you're paying attention to, from an economic standpoint, what is causing the real rate of inflation to go up, it comes down to government spending, right? And how that's being displaced throughout the whole entire economy. Is that at all being talked about? Like the real reasons why in the homes, why we're seeing inflation? Or is it government, you're causing this, we don't like you, whether Democrat or Republican, whoever's in? It's almost like who's holding the hot potato, right? Is this, are we trying to get to the root? Because here on the show, we're always talking about, like, I'm always talking about the U.S., the debt and how, and the reason why we're seeing inflation increase because of what's happening. seeing loss of jobs, right? People are struggling. So we're seeing a crippling, and I use that word, crippling, so like it's crippling. It's getting to a point where it's crippling. And I know we aren't in a recession, but we've been in a recession. We've been seeing jobs, and then they highlight other jobs saying, oh, we've got jobs over here, we've got jobs over here, but they're not real manufacturing jobs, which was promised to Americans. They're not real jobs that actually help pay real raise. So my question is this, is that being talked about in the homes, or are they just saying government bad?
They're just saying it hasn't changed and government has failed. So it's a different thing of government bad. You're right that clearly government spending has a realistic effect on inflation, right? It just does. I mean, if we look back at the 30% increases, 40% increases, and so forth over the past 2 years, that's what it's from. However, and that conversation does go on. I do hear pundits saying, well, yeah, American people don't really think about these things. They do, but they've got other things that are important to think about, and not all of them. They view their expertise as in a pragmatic fashion. So they'll have this conversation in many cases, but they won't necessarily end up with a conclusion. Like, it might be this, it might be that. But the most important thing is who owns responsibility in their eyes is the government. They do view the government as creating the environment whereby their costs will go down, their compensation goes up, the opportunity for jobs goes up. They view the government as creating that environment. And if the environment hasn't changed for them, then that blame lies directly at the feet of whoever is the administration.
All right, let's pivot here. We don't have a lot of time left with you here, Mr. Wallin. But California threw a wrench into the midterm elections here, and they did the typical California thing where they spend a lot of money and trick the voters. And the California had a somewhat fair redistricting scheme, and they played it off like it was a terrible thing, and they let the legislature do whatever they want and gerrymander it however they want, and that Proposition 50 passed. What is going to happen in California in the upcoming midterm elections?
Well, my home state of California,
I knew you'd be
it has passed more interesting legislation. So, yes, I mean, the knee-jerk reaction is to say, well, God, California's going to have to get used to becoming one-party rule. California's been one-party rule for over 2 decades. There's nothing new here. The only thing that this affects is the congressional delegation. So you remember that Larry David scene where he's standing at the voting booth, and it's kind of hot. He's, hey, buddy, who are you going to vote for? I'm going to go vote for X. Listen, I want to vote for Y. Why don't we both just leave and go get a sandwich? We're canceling each other out anyway. Let's get out of here. That's basically what happened. Texas and California should have had a conversation before they did this and gone out somewhere and had a drink or a used That would have been more effective. But that's what we
very good point there. Yes, good. Good point.
That used to happen though, right? So that's the biggest.
Yeah, Pedro, good point. So I mean, yes, we're in a situation politically where everyone goes straight for DEFCON 4.
Yeah, and what happened to 1 or 2?
Yeah. I mean, you can have contentious discussions. That's what negotiation is about. Negotiation is hard. You have two people who are diametrically opposed, and you got to find a way for you both to leave equally happy/unhappy, and that's hard. We seem to have lost the appetite for difficult conversations.
I think
that's for sure. Go ahead, Pedro.
One of the things I think that correlates with that is literally just the legacy mindset that we've been seeing has been propagated onto much of the younger generation, and even I would say Generation X. I mean, one thing about Generation X, and I kind of crack up about it, is that we're all knuckleheads. We all grew up with really no parents, out on the street figuring things out, right? Either you had a skateboard, or you were a break dancer, or you were a gangster or a rocker, right? And we all got along, and we would yell at each other, but then sooner or later we'd smoke a bowl or get drunk together and be great. I feel that's really what's missing with the baby boomers and with the generation, Y and Generation Z over here. So
Are you seeing a correlation of the decrease of alcohol consumption and the increase in failure to communicate? Because
I
that
would-
actually, that hasn't been studied, but
I really
I
do
just- I
think,
you might be
totally
on
agree with
something.
you know, like because here's the
Totally
thing,
agree with that.
it
Yeah,
takes off,
it is.
you know, I can yell at you and still like you, and that's important, right? I can sit at the table with you and drink and then say, you're an idiot, and vice versa, and be like, hey, you want to get a, I like your beer,
Pedro,
buddy.
We've talked about this a bunch of times. The great example is the Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill example,
Tip
where they
O'Neill,
would argue
yeah.
all day and then they would go have a drink after and talk about it. Now let's pivot that scene to Reagan and O'Neill with a big bong. You know, is it the same?
Yeah.
No. A opium den is not the same as the finest cocktail bar in the
Scotch.
Washington D.C. area and
Scotch.
having a nice scotch. It's different. It lends to a different communications atmosphere. And you know, Justin, I hadn't thought of that, and that this is a good point. I'm like, oh, you want to be in politics? Get rid of that pot and learn to drink. Come on, there. Come on.
That's right. Yeah. Have an adult beverage. It facilitates good conversation, which is important to running a country well.
All right, Justin, our time is up with you today. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. DeFi dude, all the way from coming to us from Spain. He's Irish, but is in Spain. He says inflation is the Fed's deal, not government spending. That's it. Anyway, Justin Wallin, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother.
And he was out. He had a 1 o'clock call that he definitely could not miss, he said.
Yep.
But Chris will be joining us soon here in a little bit anyway, so we'll have fun talking with Chris, and we'll weave Chris into our normal show talk about crypto and banter.
Fun. You know what was really interesting? JP Morgan discloses a $343 million Bitcoin ETF holding. And I literally thought to myself, I go, are they trying to brag on that? Or is that like, we're starting? I mean, like, you're not, I just thought it was really interesting that when they came out with that, I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. Taxpayers may see record tax refund in 2026 due to President Trump's big, beautiful bill. CNBC reports.
Yeah, they could. The new tax levels in the capital gains tax. Companies got to keep their first year capital expense deduction. Massive incentive. And Canada was just did the same thing, and they're positioning it in the press as giving a tax break for private jets and yachts. But really, what it is, it's a tax break for companies to buy more machinery and invest and spin up their manufacturing operations. And they end up paying the same amount of money. Just instead of paying the government taxes, they invest in machinery and equipment and that type of stuff. And for those of you not in the accounting world or something like that, the normal thing is you can deduct the depreciation of an object over a certain amount of years. It depends on the tax scheme. What they're saying is you can do it all in the first year and you get a big tax break. You don't have to pay any taxes basically for a company, but you have to pay for all this machinery. And that we all know, Pedro, that an investment in the private sector through infrastructure costs is 20 million times more effective than paying taxes. So
Absolutely.
It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. But you're right, it could be big returns for people because a lot of companies in the U.S. are LLCs, subchapter S companies, where the profits flow through to the shareholders. And so if a company takes a big deduction, sub S corporations don't pay company tax. It goes through to the owner's personal accounts. Sometimes it's not a good deal. And on years like this, it is a big deal. A big deal because they get those tax breaks.
And also more importantly, like the fact that, especially for manufacturing companies who are actually putting out there, and the margin of error and profitability is, we're talking thin, right? We're talking razor thin. So especially with inflation kicking in. So this is going to be a huge push, hopefully boost for many of those manufacturing entities to kind of get ahead, to get, let's say, beat out any other exports that are coming into the States. We know that it's about 269% increase for every dollar that's put into manufacturing that is actually able to get going. And that's a huge growth from a GDP standpoint. which would allow us to kind of get ahead and kind of suppress what's actually happening with our debt. So hopefully, fingers crossed that we don't see inflation really kick up, which would eat away at that taxation or that extra income from lack of taxation.
All right, Pedro, I'm going to take the opportunity here. Where did my ad interface go?
That is a great question. Wow, Tom is doing that.
No, I got it.
You
I got it here.
All right.
Let's see. Which one of our? Oh, that one's too complicated to read. Oh God. Quickly running through all these ads here. It's time for the morning kick, Pedro. Time for the morning kick. Hey, you guys. Just to let you know, there's this video from Chuck Norris. Saw it. Yep, it's insane. Chuck Norris is in his 80s, and he says he still feels like he's in his 50s. Can't believe it. It was pretty shocking. He had some pretty cool tips in there on what he's doing, including these 3 foods that he avoids like the plague. He explained all the things he was doing, and it was super simple. They're so easy, and you could do them right at home. When I first saw this, I knew I had to share this with you all, since what happened to Chuck could also happen to you. But with any new method, of course, your results can vary. But the video is clearly worth checking out. Watch this method now by clicking the link in chat or scanning the QR code on your screen. You won't believe how simple it is. Guys, you guys need to rewrite that script. Whew, brutal. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, over there's a QR code on the screen. If you're watching on a big screen TV, hold your cell phone up and pop that QR code. Put your eyeballs on our advertisers. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on your cell phone or tablet, there's a link in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much. In the description below, there's a link. Go check out the video about Chuck Norris and the 3 foods that he eats that keeps him going well into his 80s. Unlock Chuck's secret. Thank you to Morning Kick for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live. Pedro, before we get to our next guest, let's do just a quick market update of the various cryptos. Or not cryptos, but markets, what's going on with the market on this Friday? Are we up market, down market? Is gold going with the market, against the market? What's happening?
If you look at gold here real quick, gold has actually been rallying. So we had a huge sell-off this past week, right? For GC. We started right here. We had a sell-off kind of come in, and now we're kind of falling where you would see profit being brought in. So that's actually where we're sitting right now. If you look at the weekly chart here, we're about at a doji. So I was expecting today, I actually was trying to go long within gold, and sure enough, we saw a pullback into a continuation to go up. So that's a good thing. When you look at what's actually happening with BTC is looking similar in the fact that it is playing nicely. We're seeing it go up since we had the sell-off on Monday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the nice pullback, and it's getting to the area that I'm talking about right now, which is around that 103, and we're seeing it steadily climb. So that's what I want to see into the end or into the close of today, which will then set us up nicely for into next week.
Hey Joe, we haven't talked about oil in a while. It's been out of the kind of
I just want to know,
cycle lately.
Yeah, we'll go. Do you see?
See? Yes, I see. We're communicating in the background. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I just didn't know. All right, perfect. So, one of the things I think with crude oil is that as things are actually happening here, crude oil has been seeing a nice little drop off, literally just because, president is demanding it, right? Like, I think in the background, he's like, we need to get reelected. He's got the power. He's got the traders to sit there and say, hey, do what you need to do to keep it low. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I mean, the fact is that we've talked about this resistant level at that $60 mark. It was first support, then we sold off and came back down to that 55 area. And now we're just kind of consolidating. But this idea of crude oil being at this level, and that translates to voters going to the pump, sitting there going, well, I don't see Biden did this sticker. So and nor am I seeing a Trump. And so that shows that, people aren't being hit that hard by the prices there. And hopefully, as we start to really bring this together, I think Trump, if he can, to keep it at this level where we're seeing, right, that 60 to 55 area, if he can keep price at that level into the midterms as we get here, it will bode well, because honestly, when you go to when we go to the vote, when we go to the voter registration, majority of people have to do it in the evening, and they fill up their car for the next day. And it's always a reminder. And I think that's probably why Trump really won, is that when, you had to go fill up your car at the end of the day when you get done working, and you're looking at it going yeah, Biden did that. So I think it's important to be able to be paying attention. So if they keep it at this level, nationwide, I think it's $2, $2.30 is where the average gas per gallon is that you got to pay for. So it's real interesting to see that actually happening versus when Mr. Biden was in the office. So interesting. Go ahead, my friend. Right back at you.
Well, I wanted to talk about Chris in the background. I had said 110 on the thing. It'll be just here in a minute. Instead, I got the thing wrong. Anyway, I brought up the link to oil because Texas has been in the market for a long time. In the oil market, they've done the redistricting that they're doing to get rid of those evil Democrat people, just like California's getting rid of those evil Republicans that managed to get in office. And we have a man on the ground in Texas. We have, maybe I shouldn't have doxed that, but we have a man on the ground here. Welcome to the show, Chris Alexander, Crypto Swamp Creature,
extraordinary
co-host. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Alexander. You got to hit that mute button on the screen. You hear him, Pedro?
Did you mute me?
Pedro, I can hear you, but I can't hear Chris. Can you hear Chris?
I cannot hear Chris as well.
All right, give me a second here to...
How about now?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Efforts are being made to silence me.
I believe it.
Exactly.
I'm going to go take him out. Let me borrow that hat behind you.
Where's the lizard?
Well, yeah, well, A, where's the lizard? B, I did get a tomahawk, a breaching tomahawk, which, if you're not familiar, is a hatchet, a hammer, and then a pry bar. Yeah, so it's not really, you wouldn't hit someone with the hatchet part. You'd actually hit them with the hammer. So there's a weapon. And I am now in a search and rescue unit. So I am actually technically a Texas state official, though obviously I'm not speaking in my official capacity. So I am, in fact, the man on the ground in Texas. I'm a little bewildered. I'm gone for 2 months. Pedro's hair's gone, and there's ad read critique. Like, the world turned upside down.
we actually look like we're somewhat of a professional show. Don't tell anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Someone get Pedro a wizard hat. This is way too legitimate.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's been a while. I even said to Tom, I was like, where is Mr. Alexander? Does he not like Mexicans now? He doesn't want to come and say hi to the
No,
the token?
I don't like Tex-Mex food. And that's pretty much where it stops. And that's not even Mexican anyways. It's a hate crime.
That was made by some white dude, like, maybe 20 years ago, and called it Mex. Yeah.
Yeah, let's put kielbasa in a burrito. Oh yeah, that's Mexican. That happened to me in Houston.
All right, Chris. Good. As the man on the ground in Texas, we just had your compadre, Mr. Wallin, on in the previous block. It's talking about California and the national implications of various governor races. Were there any even elections to even think about in Texas? Was anything happen down there?
Well, I saw a commercial, and this is my way of saying it wasn't particularly consequential. I saw a commercial for a candidate named Wamsgans. And from the Succession, I thought it was Wamsgans. That's how they always say it. But apparently it's Wamsgans. And that's actually a real name, which I thought it was sort of fictionalized. And I don't remember who they did or what they did or why. I just remember their name. So no, it wasn't an important time for Texas. Texas is doing redistricting the old-fashioned way, where they just cheat, because that's what everybody does. What California did is very alarming, because California had a commission to handle all the cheating and make sure the cheating was within reason. But now they have voted to become a one-party state, all to stop authoritarianism by enacting it, which is fascinating. But yeah,
fascinating.
Whatever Wallin said, I agree with it, unless he was wrong.
Nobody's as smart as.
Yep. So
Person agrees with you.
But so not a lot going on locally. I mean, there were super local races, but nothing.
No
really.
communist takeovers of any of the main cities in Texas.
No. But I hope everyone's having a very equal day in New York. And I have some proposals for Mamdani. I know an East German who didn't know this, but the Berlin Wall was actually called the anti-fascist wall. It was keeping the anti-fascists out.
Oh, isn't that nice?
And
Really?
I have a series of proposals from very diverse places, history, people that really believed in science, almost like a religion. And so one, I want to build the New York, Connecticut anti-fascist wall. And what it'll do is it will keep capitalist exploiters from escaping New York to avoid paying their taxes.
You are hitting. That's what you're going, and it's going to be literally right over the merit, because it's already set up. Yes.
So I want that. Next, this is from China. So we have one from East Germany where they had no racism. I don't know if you've ever seen supporters of East Germany explain that. And I'm like, dude, they had no racism because they had not one person who wasn't white. But anyways, they all. So my next plan is from China. So again, diverse. You're gonna have a housing shortage with the rent freeze in 3 to 4 years, because there'll be no one's gonna put anything on the market.
Yep.
So and he's already said he wanted to tax white people above others. So then he deleted that because someone pointed out it's actually illegal. But let's not worry about that.
That's never stopped the Democrats.
Everyone who owns a home or any dwelling in New York City has to divide it in thirds, and they get to keep a third, and then someone looking for a home gets a third. So that's a 200% increase in housing, and wait for it, all of it's free, because the original person has to still pay for everything.
Oh, so basically they get my couch, they get my living room and half my kitchen?
Well, the way they did it in communist China was they said you can have 3 rooms, and then like you had 8 rooms, and so then you lost the other ones. So I'll leave you to figure that out, but it needs to be very equal. There's a lot of equity involved here. In fact, Justin and I, it was my team leader in Iraq who first said it, but we now conclude every conversation with, I hope you have an equal day.
An equal day.
I don't know if you noticed the thumbnail for the show, but I asked Grok. I said, you won't be able to see it on your screen here, but I'm putting it to the audience. I asked Grok, make a scene of New York under communist rule, and it came up with all these people waiting in a bread line in broken down buildings.
Okay, I love that. And by the way, we may have to talk after the show. I have an idea. I need some graphic design help.
Okay.
And it's not as much time as Crypto Swamp Creatures, I would do it, but I kind of want to make like a Mamdani border guard account. And we basically just take different communist scenes and we put Mamdani in, and we continue to make recommendations to the Mamdani administration, such as the anti-fascist wall and my housing plan. And like, imagine the missiles going by at May Day, and then we have Mamdani on like Brezhnev instead of Brezhnev. That kind of stuff. But yeah, there you go. I mean, well, that'll be the anti-food desert grocery store.
Right. It even put the I don't know what Russian word that is.
It says
bread.
I don't know if chleb actually.
I hope it's bread.
I'm intrigued enough I can read Cyrillic. I'm actually going to look this one up.
All right, I'll put it back on the screen for you if you need it to.
Oh, I saw chleb. Oh, it is bread. It got it right. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, chleb. Yeah.
That was pretty good. I'm like, New York under Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, okay.
Or whatever. He brings the bread line up.
I don't know what I'm more impressed with, how accurate it is, or how accurate the scene is, or the fact that it actually got letters right for once.
It's amazing. Have you been messing
It's
with
getting
it?
the letters started to
It
get
is
right.
phenomenal. I'm literally having it, like, I'll take trades, put it up, and I'll say, this price point, I want you to put XYZ, right? Because I make my own little stuff. And I was so shocked. It's getting so good. It really is.
The
I didn't
DYOR
know, but-
live thing here is AI here, and then the one on the other screen, they got the letters right with the right. They're not all wonky and.
Yeah, usually where you're like, it's like Blade Runner, but also maybe Japanese, but it's supposed to be English, and that wasn't what you asked for,
Right.
and it's spelled wrong. But
spelled
yeah,
wrong.
so on that note, I actually had a marginally useful comment, crypto related. I'm curious if you guys have heard about this. I don't even know if it's real, because the guy may have just been a scammer. But I've heard that they are tokenizing, and I don't know who they are in this case, but someone was offering this tokenized ChatGPT, actual tokens, right? As in transacted components of a solution when someone was given. So it was like tokenized. It wasn't tokenized hash rate, but anyways, have you heard about any legitimate tokenization of ChatGPT?
No,
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 not yet.
no.
That's
Well, so
It may not be real, by the way.
Well, here's the thing. So tokenize. So when ChatGPT originally came out, right?
Yep.
Each amount of character, right,
Mhm.
was like they would set it one. So if it was a letter or a dash, whatever, right? And so when it first came out, ChatGPT cost about for every for a million of those, cost $600. Okay, and that was considered a token.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So-
Yep. Okay. So it's not.
Okay. So it's not unheard of, but it'll be used inside. You can use it, but the thing is to understand that it's just simply a price point of X. X amount equals X amount of output. So,
Gotcha.
and this is the cost of it. But
So-
go ahead. No, go
So
ahead.
could you not? And now let's get into I don't know. None of what I'm saying may even be real. So we're clear. But I think it's an interesting problem set because it leads to hash rate tokenization and derivatives that people are running around trying to do. It seems like they're all scammers or it's not real. Speaking of what I just brought up. But let me ask you this. So, there's a transaction, a token in the system, and it has a going rate. They need, what is it, $1 trillion or something? And then the ChatGPT CFO made some crazy statement and then made another crazy statement. And then Sam Altman had to say, none of that happened.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Well, it was 7 trillion. It was 7 trillion, I believe.
7 trillion.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, go ahead.
so tokenizing hash rate could actually be useful.
Absolutely.
And you're pointing out the token is a set price, and it probably varies over time by how much computational power they have or what they're paying for the power or something, right? One more thing, and then
wait,
and take
no,
it.
let me throw in this here.
No.
X.
I'm just
Yes, sir.
kidding.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Go
Yes, sir.
I was joking.
It's now 50 cents per 600.
Okay, so that price moves.
Yeah.
And there's a technical term for that, like elasticity or something exciting. But
That's exactly it.
could you run a derivatives market against that tokenized price? So I'm betting, it's classic derivatives, right? I'm betting that they're going to continue to drive the price of computation down.
Absolutely.
You're like, no way, they're about to hit a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Does that market exist yet? Do you think
Yes.
it will?
Absolutely. It absolutely does. It's called poly market.
Oh,
And but here's the thing. This is what I see happening with poly market, and this is what we're actually seeing correlated with that, with Crypto.com, with their whole entire betting system, is that there are derivatives that are being based off of the actual spread of those bets.
All kidding aside, I see what you mean. It's not attached to the underlying asset in a more traditional way, but it is a derivative based on the activity of the. Yeah, I see what you mean.
and it's coming, because I mean, I know personally, there are organizations out there that are trying to wrap up real world assets and create a derivative from that can be safe, right?
Yeah.
So you literally will have a underlying value of something, and additionally to it, you also have the traded value of it, and being wrapped in a crypto product. And I know that they're out there right now, and they're only going to get funner.
Speaking of elasticity in technical terms, yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I ran into some dudes who were doing that. They had solved part of Franklin Templeton's internal private tokenization blockchain thing or whatever, and it didn't seem to go anywhere for them. And I'm wondering, outside of Polymarket, who Justin and I alternately pick on and grudgingly give credit to at times.
They did call Mamdani 2 months prior.
Yeah, so you need to have Justin back to talk about Polymarket more specifically, because he can articulate it better. But I get Polymarket's based on the whole, if 1,000 people look at the jar of gumballs, they'll get the number right kind of approach. But that's probabilistic determination. And the fact is, on odds, 51 times Mamdani wins, but 49 times he loses. And so I'm not sure how often right now it's actually right, or it happens to be right, if you follow what I mean.
Yeah, so what you're talking about is like chaos theory, right?
Yeah.
If you look at it from in the randomness of it all, it might be right, but do you want to base your life decisions on it? No.
Yeah, and I'll give you an analogy, because I actually met with Cambridge Analytica right before they got in all that trouble.
Really?
When I was working on that IARPA project, and we passed on working with them. Not because they were spooky intel guys. I had actually been in Iraq with one of them, but rather their methodology. So here's what I likened it to, and I think this it illustrates your point, Pedro. There was a dude, a French World War I pilot. He was an ace. I can't remember which one. It might be Roland Garros, the guy they named the tennis thing after, or it was another guy. But he was the first person to ever shoot through his propellers. And this was a huge, huge deal, to be able to fire through your propellers while you were dogfighting another aircraft, right? Well, he had put metal plates on the inside of his propeller so that when he shot, it wouldn't shoot his own propeller off. And it was just a matter of time until he would have killed himself with the ricochet, because his method didn't actually work, but he just kept getting lucky. But he flew around shooting through his propellers, and then he disappeared, a crash, a cloud, and they have a whole myth about it. But he didn't actually solve the problem. He just didn't live long enough to shoot his own propeller or kill himself with a ricochet. The Germans, of course, figured out the timing of the propeller. It's called an interrupter. So the propeller stops when the pilot shoots. And, that's how we have, through World War II, that kind of dogfighting. So to me, Polymarket has a propeller, and they put a bunch of metal on the props if you're using it for prediction outcomes. And it's not a sound methodology, but it's worked so far. To be fair, though, Justin and I dug into the numbers, and on larger races, it is more accurate. You do kind of get that whole everyone guess a gumballs thing.
Yeah, it's the chaos. Yeah.
But when you have a Texas, will Jasmine Crockett? Here's one. I want to see this. Will Jasmine Crockett call the governor who's in a wheelchair Hot Wheels again in the next 6 months?
And that was so epic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when you have candidates who have Nazi insignia on their body, it's clear that you don't apply your own principles to your own side. So, by the way, there's another one from Polymarket.
It was let's go quickly to Hot Wheels. I mean, it was a great one, and the governor missed a great time to troll her. Just like when Trump got blamed for the garbage thing in Puerto Rico, and then he went right to the garbage truck and did a interview from the garbage truck. The governor, what's his name? Governor
Abbott.
Abbott, yeah, Governor Abbott should have gone to a Toys R Us decorated his thing, and put instead of the red carpet, had the orange track, and just trolled Miss Crockett there. It would have been epic. It would have been the best.
I got to tell you though, you know what I like about Governor Abbott is that he doesn't do that, and I think he did have a little joke on election night, and a couple of people texted me like, "Is that serious?" Where he said, "I'm putting 100% tariff on anyone moving from New York," but
he should though. I think he should.
Well, that's something exciting because it does affect the crypto mining industry.
Oh.
There's a couple things that have gone on here in Texas that actually does. He to him, like, she doesn't matter. She, it's a big state with a lot of representation. She is a federal government member of Congress who's not a serious player in Texas. So I think he just frankly could care less. However, I do think it's really interesting, curtailment, where the mining companies pretended like they were helping everyone when it was actually more profitable to shut off and sell the power back to the grid because they weren't selling the power back at their agreed lower rate. That's gone.
Oh, really?
As
in the profitable form that it existed. That got legislated out.
Yeah, that needed to be fixed. That shouldn't.
Yeah, it was outrageous. And I warned them. I'm like, guys, stop saying it's a virtue. Just don't talk about it. I mean,
Right. We will steal all of your money by not working at all, just like the Iowa corn farmers.
Yeah, I'm going to just sell you this back at 17 times the price so grandma can have her air conditioning and not die. I'm so helpful. But the other issue that's going on about the New Yorkers and all that is they've created a whole separate business district court or business court so that people can resolve disputes quickly. They fast track permits. They give huge tax abatements. So Goldman Sachs is building a 20 or 30 story building here. Like for all of his joking about putting a tariff on New Yorkers, they call it Y'all Street. There's a Texas stock exchange that's coming in, and there are more finance professionals in the state of Texas than the state of New York now.
They're moving like crazy, and even the New York Stock Exchange owner, Intercontinental Exchange, just came right out and said we're investing in Texas, and you darn tootin', all their executives will be residents of Texas for tax purposes.
Well, from a tax purpose and also just a way of living, I'm wondering, are they going to be in shock with just the freedom and the actual money coming into them? I mean, I don't think they'll be able to handle it. I think they might overstoke.
My wife's New Yorker. I have had as a Southern Californian, a disdain to some extent for New York. Not as great as Boston, of course. Hate the Celtics. Don't even really follow basketball. Still hate the Celtics. In fact, my daughters wanted me to go to a concert with them. It was in Boston. It was when I was in Baltimore. We went up there, and it was the day of the Celtics victory parade.
Oh, man.
And it physically hurt me to be around that.
They are nuts. They were nuts. It was parties up it must have been crazy. I mean, dude, they go crazy just in general.
Yeah,
I mean, man,
huge fan. I mean, it's a deep hate for both. In Southern California, people don't care about sports until there's a championship. And I remember as a little kid going to Lakers games, and when the Celtics score came on, no matter what was happening, if they were winning, the crowd stopped and booed. And that was the only East Coast thing I saw, other than Raiders fans dressed like members of GWAR.
Dude, it's always been, and I'm a Raiders, you know what I'm saying? Raider Nation. I grew up in Central Valley. You know how it works. It's just part of days. And anyways,
in Boston.
Yeah. Yes. Bonos. Anyways,
ladies and gentlemen, it's the bottom of the hour here. We're going to take a quick break for an ad read and re-rack the show at the bottom of the block here, as I say. I just went, Pedro, I just did something that I like to do. I went and refilled my coffee cup. Would you know why I wanted to refill my coffee cup?
Would it be because you enjoy a certain brand of 1775?
That perhaps, just perhaps, may be it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you still not tried 1775 coffee, now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units and not as many because we're selling them every day. You get a bunch of things when you order this. You get the bold dark roast that hits hard. You get smooth medium roast coffee, and you get their Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. It's all single origin, small batch, toxin free and mold free. Plus, you're also getting my favorite thing, a gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't served on plastic. Although Chris lived on plastic sporks and MREs forever. You're also getting a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. Getting a black 1775 tumbler to go along with this. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for 99 bucks. This offer is for the people that have been watching 1775 blow up right here on this channel, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is worth it. Go to 1775.com, 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like a Rumble does. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a QR code over there with a couple of interesting things of coffee over there. Go ahead and put your cell phone on that, pop that code there, put your eyeballs on our sponsors. We really appreciate it if you do that. If you're watching in the chat, there's a learn more link there, and if you're watching on the replay, as always, thank you. And there's a description link in the description. Thank you to 1775coffee.com for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the it's bottom of the hour here.
By the way,
markets are moving and grooving. Here, we'll get back to our guest Chris in 1 second here. Pedro, since we last spoke, what's the market doing? Moving up, moving down? Looks like Bitcoin's trading up back up to 102 after hinting just getting down below 100K there a little bit this morning. How's this day gonna finish up here?
Like I said, I'm expecting it to kind of most likely finish green up at these levels of that 102-ish area. Excuse me, not 102, but the 103,500 area to that 103,200, and we're going right into that direction. So nothing's changed so far. We're just still continuing up. Again, we're not putting any demand wicks, so I do expect a bit of a sell-off, but just the close at this level means that I'm more bullish as we progress because they're putting in their positions here, and they're doing what they should do: sells off the whole entire week, and then they take profit on Friday. So this is what we're seeing right now.
All right, let's just do a quick audience interaction here. Baby Draco's in the house, otherwise known as Jesus from San Francisco. He says, "Damn, Pedro pulled out the button up today." Yeah, he got Pedro not only cut his hair, he put on a collared shirt, which he doesn't do often since he got out of the Coast Guard.
Was Wallin wearing a tie?
He was not. He was not.
So
I think it's the first time I've seen him without a tie.
Yeah, I figured maybe Pedro was intimidated.
Baby Draco says, "I don't think New Yorker's gonna fit well in Texas. It won't take long to acclimate there. The only thing the New Yorkers are not gonna enjoy is that they you can walk around in Manhattan or take a quick train ride somewhere or a quick car ride somewhere. Nowhere in Texas is anything quick."
There's a great article about the Californians and New Yorkers moving to Austin and trying to fit in. If you look for that, you can find it. They talked to the manager of a Lucchese or a takeover store, and it was Tacova. Sorry, see, look at that, I'm a Yankee. And about how they come in and they're wearing cowboy boots and Lululemon pants and just yeah. So,
are you talking about the girls?
No, I'm talking about dudes.
Dudes.
That's why the story's so funny.
What? That's
or Roan Sportswear or whatever the heck the guy
Oh yeah. You're right. They do because they're super tight and they're wearing. Oh man, wow.
They're I need to fit in. What do I do? And then and these guys are stop.
Jesus says all the people I know that moved there want to come back. They saved a little money, but the life is different down there. Because they're going to move there, but they're still not going to get a pickup truck. They can't get that through their head. They need to get a giant pickup truck.
You should move to Dallas expecting it to be New York. And my wife's New Yorker. All kidding aside, it's a great city minus people running it and those trust fund babies that are voting for the people running it. But Yeah, it has a lot going for it, and it's incredibly well run. Often.
Often.
So yeah, there's stickers that say "Don't California my Texas." You see in parking lots everywhere. It's more the Californians that draw the ire, but yeah, you're not. It's not Manhattan.
You know, it's interesting because I rarely remember Austin. I was so drunk when we were partying there.
Amazing how many of these conversations.
That's a ringing endorsement. I mean, Austin's like Grateful Dead, Lodi country people anyway, so that's not even an unusual experience.
Yeah, like it really was. But when we went to Dallas, you almost had to be kind of put together. You couldn't just go into the clubs and just party, right? I mean, and drunken, right? And if you did, somebody like, hey, dude, let's go, wake up. They'll still let you in because they'll serve you alcohol drunk. Yeah. But you almost have to. There's some decorum, gentlemanly decorum that you have to have. Versus Austin, you can just be a reprobate, and they'll be like, "All right, come on in." Like it.
That is the best sophisticated description of people from Austin I've ever heard. Reprobates. It's totally accurate, which is what makes it so funny. Yeah, they're like dope smoking Willie Nelson hippies. I don't like them. It's just me. I don't like them. Dallas people are like in zip sweaters and cowboy boots, and like they've never done an honest day's work in their life, but they're running around because like their grandfather had a ranch and then there was oil on it. I refer to them as Dallas cowboys. They go to Texas A&M and you know, Wallin and I actually imagine them standing on the ranch watching people work and then getting into their pickup truck and driving home to Dallas and being like, woo, what a day. Their soft hands. But yeah, but I do actually like it here in case it sounds like I don't. You know, pretty good.
The question is, does your wife like it there? That's the important
part. We don't mind it. We don't mind it here. We almost got sent to California. In fact, the town next to where I grew up, you know, to Irvine, which was kind of viewed as a punishment. I'm sure Pedro knows.
It's next to Modesto, or it's not next to Modesto, but it's like Modesto.
No, yeah, well, Irvine's next to, you know, right. It's in Orange County, and it was a planned city. And it was just like when you wanted to talk about the most boring, whitest place on the planet Earth, in California anyways, I guess I got to qualify that, it would be Irvine. Funny thing to note, Ice-T was from Irvine. So when he would talk about how hard it was growing up, I'm like, what, you got in like fights in line in the tennis court? Like, what? Now I know he got in trouble when he joined the army, but he was from Irvine. He must have been the only black guy in Irvine, by the way.
Dude, I didn't know. Like he talked about, he was hard, right? Like we're talking gangster rap hard, right? Like that's, and I mean, you also talking, you had Eazy-E, Snoop Dogg, you know, like.
So those guys grew up in trouble.
In Compton.
Yeah, those guys grew up in trouble somewhere, and trouble found them. Ice-T went looking for trouble after he left the mean streets of Irvine, where sometimes you didn't get your tea time. And there wasn't there's not a Spanish name to like a major street there. Like it's Von Carmen Avenue is the name of the biggest street.
Von Carmen.
Right.
Goring Street.
Yeah.
But he used, I was thinking about that. His son is now acting. And it's been watching him just excel. And I'm thinking he got to stand on his father's shoulders there. I mean, and I'm like, Ice-T, there you go, brother. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Came up.
Pedro, I've got the graphic over here on the screen. The great graphics machine has brought up Avalanche. And we have had discussions with the man in the box over here about Avalanche in the past. Let's revisit this discussion here and talk about where the price was and where it might someday maybe not go.
Yeah. Well, it's I would say I was wrong, and some of this my hypothesis on it. I actually feel bad because Chris, I was like, we should see it come back, and AVAX has been struggling. I mean, bad.
No.
Yeah.
I don't own any anymore, so. But
there you go. Where'd you sell it? Up at this level up here?
I don't even remember. It's been a while. Certainly 6 months or more. Good.
So you're talking up in these levels here of
like
that
40s. I remember it was somewhere like 40s when I got rid of it.
All right, perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Because I got it at like 15.
Yeah.
I will say, blockchain engineers, people I know that, I had a talk with a zip sweater, as we call him now, this guy working with the CFO. And he, and I was telling him, and I'm curious what you think of this, Pedro. I said, look, Avalanche is a great blockchain. It is a great blockchain. Solana did a great job of getting like the NFT stuff onto their blockchain, and it really pumped them up. And I'm like, but people aren't buying for value. And I'm like, and I said it half kidding. I'm like, Avalanche can't be criminals. They must be stable. They're on a Formula One car, and there's no criminals on Formula One cars. But they have the money to spend. It was my point. But I'm like, why aren't people buying for the value of the blockchain? Like a lot of blockchains are undervalued that are very useful. Like when you talk to someone who's going to fork off of a blockchain, they're going to name Avalanche as an option. And he just said, because guys are doing short-term trades and his idea. I'm curious if you thought of this. He suggested that people don't do long-term trades. They do a lot of short-term trades on crypto. And so if you're not in the headlines and you don't have something exciting going on, they put their money elsewhere to get it back faster. Do you think that's accurate?
I think there's two situations, or there's a few situations here. You have hedge funds that are pushing price down, I believe. They want to, a lot of these blockchains I think will be used, and you will actually see real transaction fees. You'll see businesses come out of it. We'll see a merger of many of the, as they call them, dead blockchains. Just like when we talk about the internet, that in the, early early 2000s, right, when it was just getting started, 1 terabyte was unthinkable of the amount of information you would need, right? Well, as Web3 and crypto keeps moving, we're going to be using a lot. We will see the expansion of data that needs to be used through blockchain, especially with what is happening within America. There's that utility that's going to be very important, that's going to be needed. And so as that happens, many of these blockchains that have already built out from an actual foundational standpoint will be, I think we'll see it just explode with fees, because there'll be so many needed throughout the whole entire market as we keep getting more data and more use, especially as humanoids start to go out and they need to communicate and talk, send fees, and it's lightning quick, right? And they're doing data analysis and they need a blockchain basically to run things. I think that's where we're going to see the usage, and we will pay for that on a monthly basis. Like, oh yeah, I'll pay just like I pay for data on my phone. Yeah. We'll see that. Now, institutions know that, and so they want price to go down so they can buy low. Okay, so I think that's what we're seeing them do. And additionally to that, like you said, there's a lot of short-term trading of like on small future exchanges, and also like Aster and a lot of these other ones where you can leverage this trade. So when you're talking about a short-term trade, literally, because I can throw on 20x, 30x, right? Instead of holding on for 20 days, 30 days, 6 months to get that, I don't necessarily need that because I can leverage it. So I think that's why we're seeing that type of move here. Short-term trades, people go in and then they're able to get out of the hard asset as well as the derivative, right? They're able to take care of that, maybe even take care of certain things. But ultimately, I think what we're going to see, and I know this is a long way of explaining, yes, it's both. You have short-term trades going on, as well as you're seeing price being pushed down primarily because institutions know that these will be major utility, money-generating utility devices. I don't know what they call it, right? Like blockchains. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so I think that's really important to understand the complexity here. And when I hear somebody give a really simple answer to a complex solution, I'm always or a simple answer to a complex question. I'm always like, it's like when people talk about, Israel and Palestine. Man, you know what they need to do? They just need to get those guys to come together and just have a shindig, and everything be all right. Just have them eat some pork, and they'll be great.
No. They need to have what is that? The basketball lock-in? Where they'd get away in the gym in LA, and they'd invite like all the gangs, and they'd be like, you can't leave. We're gonna play like Parcheesi at basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things, and like again, this is a complex situation. One being that you have all this money being put in, still being developed. And I mean, many times we really didn't see the internet really take off until about 2010, 2012, right? Like I remember when the smartphone really came in, and I can pull out my smartphone and go, oh, boom. And I really didn't even get a smartphone until 2010, right? So it's like 2010, 2011, and the internet, was already developed and ready to go. That's why we had the .com bomb, right? Or I meant bubble.
So Pets, right? Because Chewy became Pets.com. Pets.com just didn't work.
Yeah.
All the fundamentals, I presume, were there. I never really looked at Chewy again, or I mean, Pets.com. I know when I see Chewy coming, I dread it, and I check. I also ran into a delivery guy one time who hates Chewy because the box was so heavy.
Because the box is so heavy. Because he's just like,
yeah,
good Lord. That's what she said. So like, forget the professionalism, eh? But I think what's interesting is that it's just we're not there yet. The government is setting up the train tracks, the railways to actually get things moving. Finally, when it comes to laws, legislation, and I hate to have that, but I guess it's got to happen. But again, that I think we're 5 to 10 years out before these things really do see a huge explosion, where we see massive amount of transaction feeds on all blockchains, because we will need them for data transfer, for just holding data in general, right? And blockchains do a great job of doing that and being able to go back without a corruption of that data. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Again, I think this, as you see a progression in humanoids or devices like humanoids that really start to propagate, and whether that's a flying drone that I have, hey, go send this to XYZ. I have my own drone that I can send my own mail to, or I have my own, there's a group where, I think there's going to be a lot of that, where I go and I want to buy something with Amazon, right? So I have a drone that I rent out to them that I specifically buy and sell, and that they send me things like that. Well, they're going to use their own blockchain, but I think there's going to be public blockchains that we can actually use, much like AVAX, and especially the fact that
and Amazon uses AVAX. It's one of their, part of their developer platform, which is the funny part.
Yes.
Like that's how useful AVAX is, but nobody seems to care yet.
Well, hey, Chris, Pedro brings a lot of these topics Pedro's talking about with the AI using humanoids and robots and all this type of stuff is just another addition to the power grid and stuff that we need to suck out of, magic space nowhere. In Texas, they've always been their own little grid there, not connected to everyone else.
Literally,
always said
3 grids
we can,
in the US.
Right, we can do it better, and to catastrophic results, they found out the hard way there. They've changed directions. You mentioned something about the way Bitcoin miners operate. What else is going on with ERCOT because of all this need for power?
Yeah, so towns are starting to view seriously now, because of noise, seriously view any high performance computing facilities as NIMBY projects. And the main reason is actually the water that they're sucking up. That's more immediately noticeable. But if you look at ERCOT's own published numbers for Texas, for the Texas grid, they anticipate electricity doubling.
Oh, wow.
So, Bitcoin mining, 4 cents is
cost
the
or
magic.
usage?
Cost. The usage numbers, I can't remember where those are at. They go up and up and up, and it's twofold. But for the miners, 4-cent power is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And above that, you start. It's like, do I need to deploy my fleet?
Right.
Right. Do I have miners in a warehouse because it's 6 cents? It's better to have miners mining than not doing anything. But that's increasingly going away. You can't find on-grid power for that anymore. And that was what Texas was doing. Now, part of the reason Texas did that is they lead the nation in green energy. So the miners, that's why curtailment was going on, right? The miners were taking all that loaded in West Texas from wind power, and then some on the grid power, separate, other generated power. And that's how they were getting that blended rate that worked for them so well. And it brought so many Bitcoin miners to Texas. Well, they're laying power lines right now from West Texas into Dallas to start using more of that green power. So the big Bitcoin miners are going to lose there as well. So you're seeing a lot of publicly traded companies moving to natural gas turbines to be off-grid behind the meter. And I think that's where a lot of it's going, unless they go overseas.
Those are significant investments too. A natural gas turbine plant. I mean, they're $1 billion. I mean, that's
Well, so what they do is they find, and so speaking of oil and gas prices, the Waha, the Western Texas gas prices are actually negative. So you have to pay for them to offtake the gas that you have because you can't flare it.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen deals where they're offering 30 cents per MCF. So what that translates to, by the way, $1 per MCF, and it depends on the gas quality, but rule of thumb, $1 per MCF is like 2 cent power, 1 cent power per kilowatt hour.
So essentially they're paying people to transport the gas away.
Yeah, and Caruso does it. There's I'm not sharing any unbelievable, but that's the price of the gas. Now you have to have a turbine, right? Now you have to have your O&M costs. So then you get between 4 and 6 cents typically, and it starts to become problematic. However, rather than a full plant like you're talking about, they'll buy like a 15 or 25 megawatt turbine, and the general rule of thumb is about $1 million to 1.2 million per megawatt is the cost. So if you want to do 20 megawatts of mining, and I can't remember what that yields off the top of my head, but you're going to spend 20 million to 25 million for the turbine, and then you're going to spend another 20 million on all the mining equipment. It's generally $1 million per megawatt for mining. And what's the last bit? I'm curious what you think of this, Pedro. Turbines are hard to come by, and what I've discovered, I've got a partner who's a turbine, like a power gen expert. These VC firms buy the slots and put the down payments down and then sell the slots at an inflated price. It's like Ferraris.
I was going to say that.
Unbelievable.
But is that not uncommon though, right? Like that's,
I mean, standard practice. So you need a turbine to actually do something. Good luck.
And that's not the only industry buying them, man. The paper industry is buying them like crazy too, because they're replacing, legacy plants, pulp mills, and all this stuff that just burned bunker oil and stuff like that. And they can't draw the electricity they need from the grid, so they're just like, let's just start up a turbine, and they're buying them like crazy too.
And guess who loves sucking them up? AI data centers. And here's one other really interesting stat. When that Pennsylvania, that huge, 700 megawatt natural gas facility they announced a couple months back in Pennsylvania. To give you some perspective, you need 600 megawatts. That's a sweet spot for AI data centers. Below that, you have staff that's not fully utilized, and therefore it becomes problematic in cost. So 600 megawatts is sort of the sweet spot. A 700 megawatt data center would be, imagine a shopping mall filled with processing power. And by the way, people are buying shopping malls and doing that. But are you ready for the usage? A shopping mall full of servers consumes the same amount of power every day as Denver, Colorado at its peak. A shopping mall. That's how much power these things are sucking down. So
it's not just the power too. If I'm correct, people in Texas are complaining because the data centers and mining centers spend their money on their miners, but don't spend their money on noise baffling and noise mitigation, and they're loud.
There's been some dumb stuff there. That's pretty fixable, but these guys, you know,
it is fixable.
Outside of the pubcos, they're such yahoos. Like, you know, all you had to do was build a shell over the building that was soundproof. It wouldn't have cost that much, right? And now, like there was an example in Georgia where like they went to the governor, but then they didn't go to the county, and the governor said, "Don't worry, you'll get your permits." And the county's like, "No," and shut these guys down for like 90 days for inspections. You know, you need to hire a public affairs firm. Goes back to my, you know, just because you're not interested in the government doesn't mean the government's not interested in you.
Yeah, that's always, you always have to grease.
So for ages, oh, sorry, go ahead, Pedro, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say you got to grease palms from the top all the way down to the bottom, because the lower guy can also shoot you. So make sure you grease some palms. Yeah.
And you got to just legitimately fill out the paperwork. I won't say who it is, but we were doing due diligence on a mining operation. And we found that they had been fined by the state of Texas for just not filing paperwork. And the state of Texas was like, it's a $2.5 million fine if you don't fix this. Like, I don't know. That's maybe like a risk. I mean, I'm not like a lawyer or a financial expert, but like, I'm pretty sure it should be part of your business plan.
I mean, somebody's dropping the ball somewhere, and that person needs to be fired, and a new, more capable. I mean,
and they got, and these guys have VC money.
Dude, there was this guy, it was the last bull run. Anyways, the guy was given almost, I think, $10 million. And he literally, I just remember this feeling like $10 million for an NFT project by VC. And he wasted it. I mean, I don't think he wasted it. I think he saw it and was like, well, I can give myself $2 million salary. And, you know, like,
I miss those days.
I miss those days. It was real. Remember, people were just getting money for stupid things. And you
remember the effective altruism fraud, right? They picked him because he was playing like
video games
Dungeons and Dragons game on his phone and not paying attention to him.
Yes, literally. And they're like, either he's a madman and an idiot or a genius. And they chose genius.
Right. You chose unwisely.
You know, madman, probably. Fraud, yeah. Genius, I don't even understand. Anyways, so I just think it's real interesting to see where we're at. Ultimately, what I'm looking at is I think we literally are early. We're the guy who basically invented rubber and didn't know what to do with it until cars were invented, right?
I think it's a great analogy.
Right.
Especially when you're in the end, you're gonna get fucked. And that's actually a bridge to this segment of the conversation, Chris. Now Texas had everything going for it, bringing the businesses in because of the cheap power. They're there. They've invested a lot of money. Prices going up. They've got to invest a ton of money to keep the 4-cent price in. And the outreach has been huge. The governor's going all this place. We're going to do deals. Instead, they're now getting people from New York. It doesn't seem to be a good trade-off there to stop getting companies investing, but instead you're getting people from New York.
I would point out that the AI guys don't need 4-cent power. They'll pay 13 cents for power and be happy with it because it's so profitable. Bitcoin is the one that runs like an airline, and when fuel prices go up, you have an airline that's got 90 days till it's bankrupt. So AI doesn't work. The AI folks don't work that way. And Texas is really courting AI people. Bitcoin people are great. I think that would be any Texas politician's answer, unless it's their district and there's a ton of Bitcoiners. They're just like, oh yeah, it's great. AI is where it's at for them, and then finance. They're getting the Texas Stock Exchange ready, and they want everybody listing there.
Well, I saw one mining company that I can't remember the main name of the company, but the secondary part used to be Tom's Mining Company. Now it's Tom's Performance Computing Company or something like that. And Core Scientific, they're really big on AI. Marathon Digital is really big on AI, from what I've heard.
I'm not speaking for them, but
I think they realized, 13 cents versus 4 cents.
There was I knew a guy. There was a mine up in Michigan. I think it was running on hydropower, about like 10, 15 megawatts. And somebody bought it at an unbelievably inflated price and put AI stuff in there. Now, what I haven't seen yet, and I talked to a few people that sell power, is like getting a couple of blade servers or something from NVIDIA and throwing them in like you would in like a data center, like a little 1 megawatt container. There doesn't seem to be any way to sell that compute yet. Like I've asked around because I've been curious, and I just may not know the right people. I don't know a lot of people in the AI processing space, but you can't just buy a blade server and find someone to sell the AI space to. Apparently it's difficult. And so I'll be curious if any kind of more, when I say mom and pop, I mean people with 10 or $15 million to invest in a mine, or in processing. But I don't know. I wonder if people will start doing that on AI. But the real thing with AI, right, is the power it consumes is the infrastructure. Okay, we're building nuclear power plants and we're doing all this stuff, but the grid's not ready.
Yeah.
Right.
The actual build out of it going into actual centers themselves.
The wires, all that. Yeah. And I mean, I've heard them mention, this administration, we have to do that as well. But I don't think people realize, these aren't ththings you go down to like Home Depot and pick up.
Yeah, these are industrialized systems.
Or go into their parking lot and get customers. It's not.
In either direction. So
call Sam Altman. Hey, I've got compute, just one container. Sam's not going to take your call.
And I think right now their answer is, look, I'm trying to deploy as many 600 megawatt centers as possible. Now I looked at a site in Pennsylvania before this big deal. This was a couple of years ago, but there was an Amazon rep literally running up and down the I forget the name of the valley. It sounded like a place in Vietnam. It was really funny. Outside of Pittsburgh, like trying to buy stuff. And I'm not sure how that fit into Amazon's strategy.
Susquehanna Valley or something like that?
No, it was totally someplace. It sounded like a Shaw. It was somewhere. It was not like the Susquehanna or any things you might know from Pennsylvania. By the way, I don't know if it's true or not, but we had a guy from Pennsylvania. Supposedly part of the state, like the territory, was settled by a foot race between a white dude and a Native American.
Yeah, how far they could run or something like that.
Like if they ran and they got like the valley or something. I got to look that up.
Yeah, there's some reason why the Pennsylvania is the shape it is. It has something to do with some crazy thing like that.
It may be that. I'm more confident that there was a foot race between a Native American and a white dude that settled some land dispute in Pennsylvania than I am that you can buy tokenized hash rate from ChatGPT.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we only got a minute left in the show here. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Really appreciate it. It was a good show. I've been wanting to get Justin and Chris back on here, and both of them with the irreverent humor, of which I love. The Swamp, just for your information, the Swamp Creature podcast is on a hiatus for a while as Chris and Justin are busy with all these other projects. But my comment to them was like, let's make some more episodes. It's one of the few that actually teaches me something and makes me laugh at the same time.
We will be back, and no one will like us then, just as no one liked us before.
A quick question from the audience. DeFi Dude, otherwise known as Dara the Irishman, asks, are turbines made in the U.S. today?
Yes, they are, and there's a wild thing going on. I was on a call, Caterpillar, a couple other folks who manufacture them here. They sent a bunch of them to be finished in the UK, and now they're getting tariffed coming back. So no joke. So people are like in a mad dash trying to figure out how to route tariffs around, and it's really wreaking havoc. Because your U.S. made, some parts were put on in England, and now it's English, like point of origin. I'm not a shipping expert, but yeah, I was on a call where they're like, yeah, everything went up a minimum of 22%. Now, also, you have to determine the mineral content of the materials in the turbine like the metal.
Oh,
And like, so if you
rare
have
earths.
like parts that are Russian or are like Russian metal in it versus Chinese metal, it gets tariffed differently. And then you have to prove it. So if you can't prove it, you just get the max tariff. There's a lot going on that I
disaster.
don't really understand and cannot speak expertly to, but I was on a call here and actual experts and they were all unhappy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show where we got. Chris, we're going to end the show here. Hold on in the backstage here for a little bit to have a quick conversation following the show. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, it was a great week here on DYOR Media and DYOR Live. Pedro and I had a good week entertaining you, educating you, and tracking the Bitcoin. We're going to be back next week. We'll have a modified schedule next week that pay attention to our social media for, so we'll get that to you. As always, Mr. Pedro Garcia, thank you for your time and effort. Oh, I just hit the wrong button and it's going to slow my computer down. Oh, I launched my email system. Whoops. But anyway, thanks to everybody that tuned in.
Oh.
Thanks to everyone that yes, Pedro, quick comment before we go.
Also, shout out to my interview that I had with Bitcoin.com. I actually reposted it on, I think it's Altcoins Narrative or Bitcoin Narrative or no.
Post it in our TG room, Pedro.
Yeah, we will. But if you guys could just show me some love there and make a couple comments on it, reshare it, that always helps out. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week, and pay attention to our social medias for our schedule next week because it'll be a modified schedule. Thanks, as always, the man in the box next to me, Mr. Pedro Garcia, my friend and co-host. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to have hosted you guys and our guests, Chris and Justin, today. We'll see you guys next week. Be there.